the change management is not an easy work in the purchasing department. I would say that I think that half of my time is dedicated to communication, influencing, and constant change management, especially in an organization where we just create the department. It was like we opened it like 3-4 years ago, because before one director started the department. In the change management, it's key, but it's really key to have a really good sponsoring from your direction. Have a really clear guiding principle. Then you have to communicate on the C level to all the direction from the company. And in my case, what I did is do a meeting with all the directors from all the departments to let them know what is the framework now and how we want to work together. Because I noticed in this company, in previous company, when I was doing consulting, is that all the purchasing director was struggling on the question of how can I make them follow my policy, governance, because people are seeing purchasing department as a support department, but not as an added value department for the business. They see it as a really administrative, that we don't have value, and then it's a lose of time to go through the purchasing department. And sometimes they feel that they are losing power sometimes. So it's all about communication and let's understand to the people how we will work together to make them part of the project. Because if they are not part of the project, for sure you will not be able to implement the project and the savings that you presented to the direction. So it's really key.
I have seen, both in my experience as a chief procurement officer and also now as a consultant, that so many companies overlook, or they sort of look past it. They think, oh, this is no problem. I got my strategy. Great, we're on the way. And change management to me may be one of the single most critical factors for success of a procurement strategy. And likewise, it can be probably the single biggest, in my experience, risk for failure of your procurement strategy. And so if I think about what does that process entail, it actually, for me, starts way before you say, here's my strategy. It starts at the, as they say, it starts at the beginning. And the beginning is, before I create my strategy, I have to have identified who are my key business stakeholders. And I have to have begun, I may not yet have developed, full trusted partnership relationships with those stakeholders, but I have to I have to have identified my key internal stakeholders and begun to build the bridges of partnership, begun to establish the relationships with them.
So it's really key for each project to have a business owner, to clarify the methodology on how you will work with them, and for them to make sure that you will respect the job, and they are here to add a lot of value, because finally they are the experts on the domain that they manage. So it's key to work together to ensure that you are proposing a solution that fits with the needs, to make them part of the project, and share all the success of the project, because finally you cannot work alone, not anymore. And it's not only about negotiating one price and to be a cost killer, not anymore. It's not like this. I think the purchasing department changed a lot this last year. It's still not so professional and not so recognized in some company. But the key is to work together, to have a clear guideline, to have a really strong sponsoring, and to always communicate internally, and to communicate all the success stories that you have. Because when I start, I was thinking, okay, how can I cannot work on this transformation and it's the birth of the purchasing department in an organization when they spend a lot of years, 15 years, 20 years doing things on their way, on their own way, and not speaking with the other to know what they need. Because we were losing a lot of money just because people were not communicating together and they were not aware of what each shop were doing. So just to get all the information, to get people work together, and to have a clear visibility on a national level of what you have, you can gain a lot of money. And it's really key to make them feel that this is their project too. It's not purchasing project. I always say that we are speaking about company project. It's not mine. It's not. And if we have a really a big success, it's not only thanks to the purchasing department, because if I don't work with the people who know all the technical specification, how can we innovate, how can we optimize the process, I will not be able to deliver a good project. So I think this is key, and we have to spend a lot of communication, a lot of time in communication and influencing people, but always working together. I think this is key for the success of any project.
I think just continually reappraising your strategy is important as well for the change management. Situations do change, markets change, so you want to continually make sure that your procurement strategy is still relevant and it is still the right outcome that you're trying to achieve. So you do have to be receptive to changes that are happening. So the pushback can be legitimate, but equally, constantly just reminding people why you're there, and that can bring people on side, and you're all fighting that same fight.
The most common mistakes that I see procurement make is, number one, they try to do things in isolation. They try to operate in isolation, everything from creating their strategy to performing their roles. And they skip the steps of building partnership, creating cross-functional teams, and probably most importantly, they skip change management.
I think the second thing is, back to Sun Tzu here again. He said, strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory. Tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. And so I think, one real weakness in some strategies is that the leadership or whoever get in a room and they think these things through and they do the big picture, and then they don't think about the tactical stuff and what really is going to make a difference.